Hey guys, Crystal Thompson here for Studio Katia. I am so excited. We are playing along with one of the newest releases, Autumn Borders, and we are going to be doing some no-line watercoloring with watercolor markers. You're going to need some watercolor paper cut into a square, along with some craft paper cut into a square, and watercolor markers. We're going to begin by inking up our beautiful leaves from the Autumn Borders stamp set. This stamp set does have some matching dies, but for this we're just going to keep it one layer and it's going to be super pretty. We're going to do the edge, the line of it with a dark espresso ink from Altenew, and then we're going to do the lighter ink just so we can do the no line watercolor, and it's kind of gonna fade. So we're gonna repeat the process again. We're gonna grab that darker espresso, dark chocolate ink, and trying to keep it down at the bottom. And if you get above that line and get some of those leaves, that's okay. They'll end up getting hidden anyways because these are water-based inks. So when you're doing this, be sure to grab a water-based ink, and that way it kind of mixes around with the colors that you're using and you won't see it, and it's going to look very nice and just very elegant, and it's going to look like a hand-drawn image. All right, for this sentiment, we're going to be using "We're Grateful for You" with black ink. We're going to stamp that right on the center of our card. Going to just rock it, hold it a bit so the paper can really suck that color in. And I'm using 110-pound Nina cardstock. All right, guys, I'm going to begin by coloring my images. I have the yellow of the Zig Clean color markers, and I'm using a nice little portion of plate that I've drawn a little of that color. And so what I'm doing is I'm adding the shadow directly to the leaves and alternating what leaves I'm going to color in this color, and then I'm going to move on to the next color. Be sure to not color images that are right next to each other, and the reason why is that if they are wet, they're going to blend with each other and you're going to have some color run. We're going to continue on with this beautiful orange. I wanted to select really fall colors. Our next one is a lime green, and we're not going to leave these guys lime green. We're going to add some of that brown to really make it look like the leaves are turning. And I did end up switching to a smaller brush because those little leaves are quite tiny. So I think one of the big things with watercoloring leaves is that you use two colors on one leaf. So like I said, it looks like the color's turning and it just makes it look a little more realistic. So I am loving the really light, kind of almost light brown color, skin color brown, because it's gonna hide within those leaves. All right, we're gonna finish up by adding that red, and that kind of red ended up kind of pink. So I grabbed some of the orange to really add some more depth into the leaves, and just again coming in and finishing in all those little colors. So it did take me about 10 minutes to do this image, and honestly you could still see it, but it still looks very delicate, very hand drawn. We're going to do a little bit of a flicker, grabbing some of that brown, and then we're going to let it dry. So once that's dry, we are going to place it on our craft cardstock that I have matted, and it's just a teeny light a little bit on the back so you can really see it. I'm going to come in with my Studio Katia Glow, and then I'm going to be using some of the water droplets also from Studio Katia and adding these to the card. And I didn't want to take away from the watercoloring because this really is the main focus of the card, but of course we need to add some embellishment. And that does it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Crystal Thompson for Studio Katia doing some no line watercoloring with watercolor markers. Have an awesome day.